From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Well, we're one day closer to the storm, which means we're one day closer to getting a better handle of the timing, the overall intensity of the storm, the overall amount of snow that we can possibly expect to see here. You know, the long-range forecast models just don't do a very good job when you start going out 4, 5, 6 days. They just tend to overdo it many times. So it's a matter of kind of waiting as we get about 2 to 3 days out. It gives us a better idea of what to expect. So we're getting there. But we've got to give it another day before we can really start pinpointing some more details about the storm system. All right, so let's talk about everything, what's going on. First and foremost, we've got afternoon showers mainly for the North Coast and Siskiyou County for your Wednesday. I think parts of northeast Shasta County, parts of Modoc County could see some activity in the afternoon, but really overall, I'm not expecting a lot of rain for most of us for Wednesday. Wednesday is just kind of very weak disturbance skirting to our north. Okay, and then it looks like we have the heavier rain, snow, and the gusty winds, which will start on Thursday. And they'll most likely last off and on for Friday and even into Saturday before we start to kind of wrap things up for the second half of the weekend. The heaviest rain and snow will be on Friday. This is when I expect the biggest impact is on Friday. But we're going to see activity on either side of that for Thursday and not to mention on Saturday, right? And then travel delays for Thursday. There should be a space there, but you get the idea. Travel delays for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. As I mentioned, the biggest impact will be Friday, and I think that's going to be the hardest travel day. But Saturday, since Friday's going to be the worst day, Saturday's still going to feel the impacts from Friday as we go into Saturday morning. All right, let's take a look at your North Coast forecast for tonight and into tomorrow. And we'll be looking at, of course, mainly dry conditions here. And that's the case for the inland areas and not to mention out towards Trinity County as well. Now, I'm expecting those dry conditions here for the Valley, Siskiyou County, Modoc County, Eastern Mountains as well. And that's through the morning. By noon, the coast will start to see some of those showers begin to move in. All right, so here's what I'm tracking for Thursday through Saturday. Now, as I mentioned, it could linger on into Sunday, but the bulk of the activity is going to be those 3 days. And we're looking at heavy snow above 3,000 feet. Now, we are expecting to see snow accumulating as low as 2,000 feet, but the heaviest snow is going to be reserved for the 3,000 feet and higher club, if you will. Okay, then we do have the possibility of snow levels dropping down to around 1,000 feet, and that could mean the potential for, at the very least, a mix out towards North Reading, City of Shasta Lake, Palisadro, maybe Anderson. But as you start heading into, say, Cottonwood southward, the chances for that mix are getting slimmer and slimmer. Now, I'm also concerned about chain requirements and delays due to the heavy snow at those lower elevations. Looking at the potential for road closures, especially north of I-5, north of Reading, that is, on I-5. So just be prepared for that. It's just not a good travel weekend, especially for your Friday and not to mention your Saturday. And on top of that, we've got gusty winds. So that's going to mean blowing snow. And because the winds will be gusting 50 miles per hour or more, now you're talking about the potential for power outages. All right, so again, we take a look at that timeline. Haven't changed a whole lot since yesterday, but here's the overall impacts. Thursday, high impact, but the snow levels are going to start fairly high. Quite honestly, probably closer to 5,000 feet to start, but eventually by late in the day Thursday, dropping down to as low as 3,500 feet. Now the winds will be very strong as well. As I mentioned, upwards of 50 miles per hour. That could mean power outages. So I'm not as concerned about chain requirements on Thursday, with the exception of east of I-5. But as you head on I-5, the first part of the day on Thursday, especially even into the early afternoon, most likely in the form of rain. It's just the gusty winds. Highway 299, west of I-5, I think mainly in the form of rain, and then late in the afternoon, evening, maybe some snow around Buckhorn Summit. All right, now we go into Friday. Friday is another big impact day because we've got heavy rain in the valley, we've got heavy snow in the mountains, and heavy snow down to as low as 3,000 feet. Now, I think it'll start off around 3,000 feet on Friday, eventually dropping down to as low as 2,000 feet by Friday afternoon. That is going to mean a bigger potential for chain requirements, road closures, especially north of Reading on I-5. And of course, the gusty winds could lead to power outages and blowing snow, blizzard conditions associated with the storm system on Friday. So of all of these days, I'd say this right here is the worst day to travel. Okay. Then we go into Saturday, moderate impact. And what I mean by that is the main storm, the heaviest part of the storm has passed at this point. We're still going to feel the impacts of Friday's storm on Saturday morning, which means travel delays, chain requirements, the works. And there still will be some snow out there, especially for Saturday afternoon. Winds are still going to be gusty, probably just not as strong. Instead of 40 to 50, 25 to 35 miles per hour. And snow levels now down to as low as 1,000 feet and locally lower. Sunday, we're wrapping things up. Still a chance for a few scattered flurries. Still a chance for a little gusty winds at times, but it's a minor impact. And on top of that, if we get enough clearing on Sunday, we could be talking about some frost in the valley for a cold start to the day. Whew, a lot to unpack there, right? So let's kind of walk you through it all and kind of get the story behind it all. This right here is what we got our eyes on. It's got colder air associated with it. There's the Arctic air. This is continuing to dive south here for the rest of the week. Now, by Thursday, the coldest part of the storm is still to our west. But we've got that flow with that trough low pressure. We're right in that flow. This right here, when you take the axis of this trough low pressure right here, east side of that is where we have the most amount of instability. That's where we start to see the rain, the wind, and that heavy snow in the mountains, mainly above 4,000 feet on Thursday. By Friday, that colder air moves in closer. So what's happening? It's getting colder. The atmosphere is getting colder. As a result, snow levels are starting to drop on Friday. But the coldest air isn't here just yet. All right, then we go into Saturday. Now, what I want you to take note is this area of low pressure now is to our north. We are right there on that trough axis. That's important to note because, again, this area of the storm is where we tend to have the most amount of activity. As we get on the east or west side of that trough of low pressure, you see less activity. So as we go through the day on Saturday, we are seeing less activity. We're still going to see snow down to as low as 1,000 feet. We're still going to see gusty winds, just not as strong. The storm at this point is moving out. So as a result, we don't see as much on Saturday and especially on Sunday. Now what's interesting is take note here, and this is just kind of a new development this evening. We were expecting some colder air to kind of stay up to our north, but now it's looking like we're going to see some colder air break off from the Gulf of Alaska here, and that may dip a little bit farther to the south than anticipated come Monday, Tuesday of next week, meaning colder air, meaning low snow levels, and meaning the chance for some more rain and snow. If we don't see snow in the valley over this weekend and even into Sunday, maybe Monday, Tuesday of next week. That's going way out. We'll see. But, we've got a lot of days here. We're lining up here that we could see that potential for some snowflakes in the valley. So it's beginning to look more and more promising that we'll see something, all right, at this point. But just how intense that will be at this point, we got to give it a couple more days. All right, so here's a look at Futurecast. Let's take a look at Wednesday, tomorrow at noon. By noon, we're just beginning to see the showers move in. Snow levels, 4,500 to 5,500 feet, closer to that 5,500 foot range. Then we go into Wednesday afternoon. Now you see how most of it's the coast, North Humboldt, Del Norte County, Siskiyou County, and Northeast Shasta County. This is where we have the best chance for precipitation. Otherwise, I think the rest of us should be looking at dry conditions on Wednesday. Now, we go into Thursday morning. Look at the snow levels. They're dropping down to 3,000 to 4,000 feet. Now, they'll start off probably around 4,000 feet on Thursday, then dropping down to 3,000 feet as we go into the second half of the day on Thursday. And look at that band of heavy rainfall. And by the way, gusty winds along that band as well. But look at I-5. That is all rain, my friends. That's rain. So that's 10 a.m. on Thursday. But as we go into Thursday afternoon, now we're seeing snow levels begin to drop, but the bulk of the rain, the bulk of the snow is now off to the east. But we still have that potential for some activity here as we go into Thursday afternoon. So that could mean snow on I-5, snow on Highway 299 West, right? So we've got to be prepared for the fact that we'll start to see chain requirements as low as 3,000 to 4,000 feet by Thursday afternoon. All right, now we go into Thursday night. We're still seeing some of that snow, and then, of course, more coming into Friday as well. So let's take a look at the forecast snow totals. This is the short-range forecast model. It's more precise, it tends to be more accurate, so it only goes out a little over 48 hours. So we take a look at 10 p.m. on Thursday. There you can see, yeah, we could see a couple of inches, possibly in Bernie, by Thursday night, by the way. Thursday morning, probably in the form of a mix or rain, but by Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, yes, snow for Bernie, snow for Chester, right? I don't think at this point we'll be looking at a lot of snow for Bernie, or excuse me, for Weaverville or Hayfork. It might be overdoing it here. However, that being said, by Friday, we are seeing snow levels drop down to about 2,000 feet. So that could mean that by as early as Thursday night, we may start to see snow for places like Weaverville and Hayfork. All right, so we've got to be on the lookout for that as well. And then, of course, that'll be the case as you head up towards Siskiyou County. Look at no snow, by the way, on the coast at this point. Let's take a look at the winds now. There's a lot of elements. We got to make sure you're prepared and understand what's going on here, okay? Because you got to make sure you're prepared for this. And this is no laughing matter, folks. This is a big storm. It's going to bring us that snow. It's going to create problems when it comes to lower snow levels, and of course, the gusty winds could mean the power outages. 5 p.m. Wednesday, not a big deal. Winds picking up by the evening hours, but it's really not until midnight tomorrow night into early Thursday morning that the winds are really picking up. This is the cold front where we're seeing the heavier rainfall and gusty winds. That cold front shifts eastward by 10 a.m. Thursday. Now we're seeing the strongest winds in the valley. Very strong, very gusty south winds. They're also very gusty off in the eastern mountains. And then they're very gusty winds by noon for the eastern mountains, and then that kicks off to the east. Still breezy, still gusty, even Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, but not as strong. Okay, and then of course, as we go into Thursday night, Friday, still looking at those gusty winds. All right, you still with me? All right, because we've got more to talk about, okay? Let's take a look at Thursday. Now we're going to take you into Friday. Now Friday, you see that disturbance right here? So we got the trough low pressure, and there's this disturbance that will kind of rotate around it, and that's what's going to give us one little punch of heavy rainfall and a punch of heavy snow in the mountains. That's when we start seeing issues on Friday. And not to mention, that punch will also bring us very strong winds. So now we're talking very heavy snow on Friday. This is the biggest impact for travel. Very gusty winds, biggest impact for travel and power outages, and not to mention heavy rainfall for parts of the valley. All right, now we go into Saturday. Remember I was mentioning that area of low pressure is to our north. We're in what's called the trough axis. So the bulk of the activity is off to the east, but we're still seeing showers. We're still seeing snow, fairly low snow levels, Saturday into Sunday, but we're just seeing less of it at this point. Even Sunday, a few isolated snow flurries out there. Now check this out. As we go into Monday, look at that. Monday and Tuesday, we've got a couple of systems in an area of low pressure right here, a cold one, that's going to bring us more rain and low elevation snow. That's next Monday, next Tuesday. No, wait. That's, yes. So that's a week from now. Okay, so we're looking a ways out. I mean, I had to think about the timing of that for a second. So this is not guaranteed, all right, but something to kind of keep a close eye on. To watch, monitor. Rainfall outlook, I've put these numbers in here myself. I just don't like what I'm seeing with the long-range forecast models projections. So here's what I'm expecting. In the valley, we tend to see this bit of a donut where we see less rainfall, especially to the south. So heavier rainfall for Redding, less rainfall down to the south toward places like Willows. This is going to be a lot of snow up here, all right? This is going to be the equivalency. This is going to be the water equivalency. So once we melt the snow down, this is how much rain we would end up seeing in the rain gauge. So some good rainfall. Now, of course, that's rain right along the coast. 5 to 6 inches for Crescent City, 3 to 4 in Eureka, and even Hoopa looking at a decent amount of rain, which, by the way, Hoopa could see some snow as we go into late this week. Forecast snow totals. This is the long range. I don't even want to show it. I shouldn't. It's irresponsible. This is not an official forecast. It is picking up at the potential for that mix in Redding, maybe as far south as Red Bluff, but I think honestly that's pushing it. A lot of these numbers here are way overdoing it. I think about Shasta could see 1 to 2 feet of snow. Weaverville, I don't think you're going to see 2 feet of snow. I think you could see upwards of a foot of snow, and that's also the case for Hayfork. Bernie, I think you can see 1 to maybe 2 feet. I think it's going to be closer to that 1 foot. But Chester, yeah, I think 1 to 2 feet of snow. Susanville, probably closer to a foot. Alturas, probably closer to 6 inches or so. That's also the case for Aden. So again, these numbers are overdoing it. Tomorrow, I will try to kind of put in some numbers of my own to help give you some projections. Just note that takes a lot of time. So hopefully I can get to that and get the time to do that, and we'll get some of those numbers for you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the temperature outlook below normal as we go into the first week of March. This colder air, it's going to park itself over Northern California as one system after another comes on in with that colder air. Okay, let's get to those wave heights, and there you can see that as we go into Wednesday afternoon, we're going to start to see that storm system approach, and that's going to give us much higher wave heights. Eventually, there will be a gale warning for Thursday. Okay, for tomorrow, no gale warnings, but that will change. All right, so here's what we have. South winds at about 15 to 20 knots. Waves from the northwest is 6 feet at 11 seconds. This is for your Wednesday. We've got the chance for rain. Eventually, by Wednesday evening into Thursday, we will see that gale warning. All right, here's what it looks like for tonight. You've got temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Not out of the question to see some patchy frost for the valley tonight, so be aware of that. Otherwise, you're looking at temperatures mid to upper 20s for the higher elevations, although low 20s for places like Lassen Park and Chester. Along the coast, pretty chilly too. You could even see some patchy frost as well. That might be pushing it, especially in the low 40s, but you get the idea, it's pretty chilly. All right, here is a look at your neighborhood forecast for Trinity County. You got temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. There are your snow levels dropping from Thursday into the weekend. All right, take a look at our neighborhood forecast for the North Coast. 57 in Eureka, 57 for Rio Dell, Garberville, about 56 degrees, 54 degrees for Crescent City, 57 in Hoopa, 59 for Willow Creek, and Smith River, about 55 degrees. Here's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast for your Wednesday. Yeah, late in the afternoon, we could see some showers, maybe some snow flurries, but the snow will probably be pretty high, probably around 4,000 feet or higher. There's a look at your Wednesday for Modoc County. Probably dry tomorrow through most of the day. It's not until Thursday that we'll see that rain begin to kick in. Eastern Mountains mainly dry tomorrow as well. 53 degrees for Chester. Although places like Bernie, Fall River Mills, Mineral, Viola, Shingletown, you might see some showers for tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, to the south and west of that, into the valley, it will be dry. So there's your Valley Neighborhood Forecast brought to you by Haas Farms. Temperatures actually in the low to mid 60s. So actually warming up a little bit in some spots here. 65 in Hamilton City, 64 for Orland, and Elk Creek, that is, about 63. So take you up north. There you can see about 62 for Redding, 61 for Bella Vista, 58 in Lakehead, and Red Bluff, a high of about 62 degrees. So let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding. There are those showers coming in Thursday. By the way, gusty winds for Thursday, Friday. I've got the mix in there for Saturday and Sunday. And then on Monday, Tuesday, for now, I've got that chance for showers. We'll see if the models are consistent with that potential for rain on Monday and Tuesday.